Good morning, everybody. About ready to get this thing started. Oh my God, those Vikings. Look at those Vikings. Come on, man. No, you don't. Let's get some of that trash talk in there. Let's see who's in here. Good morning, everybody. Make sure you're throwing up what team that you represent into the comments. Oh, yeah. NFC North. NFC North Talk. Yeah, it is the NFC North Talk with your host. That's me. That's Russell Wayne. And man, I can't. I mean, I am just overflowing with awesome, just feeling great this morning. And you know, this is NFC North Talk with me, your host, Russell Wayne. We are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad page right there. And I want you to give us a follow. And we are broadcasting live into Bill the Packer Fans page. If you're a Packer fan, we are broadcasting live into Mike the Bear Fans page. And welcome one and welcome all to this Friday episode of NFC North Talk with your host, Russell Wayne. So I hope everybody's having a great morning so far, because I know that I'm having a great morning. Because, you know, last night I watched the Vikings lose again. And I mean, I'd hate to be one of the people that says, I told you so, but you could just see it coming. You could see it coming, everybody. I mean, they have no defense. All of the good players I had on their 32nd ranked defense, they said bye-bye to. And then Brian Flores has this blitz scheme type of thing, and they're just getting their asses handed to them. And in both of the games, they've been dominated up front on a line of scrimmage. And I don't even think that the Philadelphia Eagles are all that good. I mean, I watched Jalen Carter. I watched his snaps last night, and I watched that defensive front, and I watched them dominate in the beginning of the game. And then I watched the Vikings be able to come back on them, because I don't think they can keep that up for 4 quarters. But I don't know. Maybe they just took their foot off the gas a little bit at the end. Kirk Cousins was able to get a long touchdown. So if you're a Viking fan out there, I got to hear from you. I mean, is there any Viking fans that are left over? I'm looking through here, trying to say good morning to everybody right there. Hey, but I'm going to say good morning to one of my good friends right here, my compadre, Emmy nominated Main Event Mike.
Good morning, Russell.
Good morning. One pride,
my friend.
And it did feel like I got to get your thoughts on this, because I want to give them a chance out there. If you are a Viking fan, I need to hear from you. I want to hear somebody try to defend that, because we're about ready to, I believe, defend Kirk Cousins a little bit, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, a lot of problems.
You're not going to do it
against the Eagles. Kirk Cousins, however, not one of those problems. 364 yards, a bunch of touchdowns. He was throwing, he was lighting them up. Okay. And these weren't just dink and dunk passes. He was getting chunks against that Philadelphia secondary. Yeah, they had a few players missing, but Justin Jefferson, you cannot deny this guy playing against Darius Slay, one of the best CBs in the business. He was torching him all night long. Vikings 0-2, not a good start. Not a good look. They couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't run the ball. That's a recipe for disaster in this league.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
Yeah, and the thing is, but are we really surprised? We're Reno, come on. Good. We got a go pack go coming in from Don, but we weren't really surprised about this. We've been talking about it all summer long on the morning show, how the Vikings were going to be at the bottom of this division. And I mean, the Bears were so bad against the Packers that, they might have to fight the Vikings to be the worst team and go after that Caleb Williams. But I'm telling you, they're going to need a quarterback, because you guys are going to find out what it's like to be in a quarterbackless, with no Kirk Cousins. You don't want that. You don't want that at all.
The guy they won't extend, Kirk Cousins. Look,
I mean, he was lights out.
This guy's a gamer. This guy's a real NFL quarterback. You can't do better than Kirk Cousins at this point. I mean, put Kirk Cousins on the Dallas Cowboys. Goodness.
Yeah, I think the guy's he's just like Jared Goff to me. He's one of those quarterbacks that's a pocket quarterback. Pocket quarterbacks are not appreciated in the NFL. The greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, is a pocket quarterback, and he took shit for years and years and years. They wouldn't call him the greatest after 4 Super Bowls. And they were saying, I wonder if he's the greatest. Finally, after 7 Super Bowls, going to 9, they're like, okay, I guess he's the greatest and everything. And I happen to believe that Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. And I should eat some crow for that. But it's one of those things, pocket quarterbacks aren't sexy. It's not.
It's my quarterback.
But guys like Kirk Cousins, guys like Jared Goff, they play well in the pocket, and they're not looked at like these mobile quarterbacks. So Kirk Cousins, you're good in my book. I mean, you were the last reason that anybody should point to as the reason you lost that game. You lost the fight up front. The Eagles kicked your ass.
I'll tell you what, the Philadelphia Eagles ran the ball so well, they didn't even have to test that secondary of the Vikings, which is highly suspect. They really didn't even have to test it because they were able to run the ball. DeAndre Swift in his Philadelphia home debut, 175 yards. In one game, DeAndre Swift gained more yards than the Minnesota Vikings have in 2 whole games.
So I'm going to throw a stat at you right here because I did see this one out there, but 130 of those yards that he got came before contact.
Holy cow.
That means that offensive line, like we were saying right here, you guys got your ass kicked. And I'm not just saying you got your ass kicked. I'm talking about your dudes up front got their ass kicked by their dudes up front, and some guys benefited and got some stats because of it. But that's domination.
Right. And take a look, Ross, at the first 2 opponents for Minnesota. Tampa Bay, terrible offensive line, can't run the ball. Minnesota still loses. Philadelphia, great offensive line, runs it down their throat, and they lose. And I think Minnesota's been exposed. Their defense is exposed. I do have a little bit of respect for Brian Flores. Some of the things he did on defense made it tough for Philadelphia. But Philadelphia, they know the formula. When you've got a guy blitzing, what's the formula? Run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. And the time of possession was ridiculous. And it's just like we called it. I mean, you don't need to be a genius to call it, but you can't expect to go 11-0 in one-score games forever. That's not sustainable. Here they open the 2023 season. They lose 2 one-score games in a row, just coming to fruition what everyone has said all during the offseason. So, yeah, Vikings in trouble starting 0-2. Philadelphia, however, they looked beatable, right? They did not look like the 11-0 juggernaut we saw last year. And Kirk Cousins did absolutely torch them. So they looked beatable. Minnesota, without Christian Darrisaw, I mean, their offensive line, they could generate nothing. And then you talk about 4 turnovers, Russ. You can't win when you turn the ball over 4 times. But kudos to Minnesota for keeping it close, and that offense is definitely as advertised. TJ Hawkinson showed out, Justin Jefferson showed out, and Kirk Cousins showed out, and they can beat bad teams. You better look out about that 0-6 prediction that you gave because I think they definitely can beat the Bears with that offense.
Yeah, I might have to go back on the 0-6 prediction, but that's just because the Bears are that bad. It isn't because I think that they're any good or anything like that, but I do have a special guest that's waiting in the back, and I know that you've been looking forward to talking to him again, but this is a former NFL, former Detroit Lions wide receiver, Mark Schmidt. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure.
And like we did it last time, just to make it a lot easier so we don't talk over each other, I'm going to let Mike handle this portion right here because I want you guys to have a good conversation, and I want to be able to, decorate your background in there. But yes, main event, Mike, Mark Schmidt.
Thanks,
Welcome
Russ.
back to the program, Mark. It's so great to have you.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that.
The reason we wanted you on the show today is because of, obviously, the Aaron Rodgers injury has brought back to the surface this same old thing that's been going on for the last 10 years about artificial turf as opposed to natural grass. And as a player, I know that this is something you can speak on. And we really want to get your thoughts on it because it's all over the chats. It's all over the groups. I got some really good stats here I wanted to throw at you. But before I do that, I wanted to ask you quickly. I know you played at University of Buffalo and you played for the Temple Owls. Were those fields grass or natural turf?
They were you said natural grass or turf or natural turf?
Or artificial turf?
I got you there, Mike. No, they were both artificial. Temple was artificial and Buffalo was artificial.
Okay. And then when you got to the pros, obviously you played in the Pontiac Silverdome, which was also artificial turf, right?
Yeah, artificial. And I did have turf toe and all that stuff. So
those artificial turfs are much different than the artificial turf they play on today, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a little better today. Yeah, But what I'm going to
Right.
explain to you, and go ahead, Mike. I'm going to get into this in a second. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, the new turf though still has the same issues as the old turf as it relates to the players. In fact, I know you're very involved with the NFL Players Association. The NFLPA put out a survey where 91% of the players feel more tired and more sore. That's playing on the new turf. So, as opposed to the old turf and the new turf, tell me what were the differences there?
Well, in Buffalo, we played on a sand-based turf, and which was out of the University of Tennessee. They started, but it was real abrasive, and they felt that it gave a lot more. You'd bounce the ball on it, and the sand would pop up. But what happens with sand, Mike? It's abrasive if you slide on it. I mean, we would have to wear all kinds of gear, or if you will, to protect yourself from it. And AstroTurf was just coming out. We had that in Veterans Stadium, and it wasn't real good. You'll remember some of the talk back in the 80s about Veterans Stadium, especially with the Cowboys playing there against the Eagles. So it was not good. It was not good at Buffalo. In the Silverdome, it was okay, but it didn't really give the way it was supposed to. And one of the things that there's the difference, but it's gotten a little bit better, obviously. But what I'm going to explain to you is, like with Aaron Rodgers' injury, also the injury to Julian Edelman, and I think it was 17 or 18 when he lost the season. Those were both of those injuries were a situation where, if the ground would have given, in Aaron Rodgers' case, and I'm not saying this for sure, but it would have taken a huge divot. Okay, that foot would have gone below the grass level into something called mud. Okay, and that foot, that foot that was implanted there, that had nowhere to go other than the surface of that artificial turf, would have taken a huge divot out and given. Okay, and given that Achilles tendon a break, and would have given Julian Edelman's knee a break. Okay, because it would have dug down a little further than that surface, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches, and taken a huge divot. We know I've seen that before, okay, and may have saved that Achilles. I'm not saying he wouldn't have gotten hurt, but maybe it wouldn't have torn. You can't take these chances anymore, guys. They're doing so much in this league to protect the players now, with the helmets, with the equipment, with the rule changes. I mean, you can't have this stuff. It's got to go. It's got to go tomorrow. And if you're saying it's a money issue, that's bullshit. It's not a money issue anymore. It's about 10 guys or 12 guys and a grounds crew. Every time the guys come off the field for a little bit of practice, man, that grounds crew runs out there. They replace the divots. They do this. They do that. I mean, it can't do it. It's all done. And I said about the meeting coming up, I have a big NFLPA meeting. The big guys are in here from Washington, in Buffalo on Monday night for the Monday night game. We're all meeting down in South Buffalo, and all the big local guys are coming out for it too. And they said, "Well, are you guys going to bring up artificial turf in the meeting?" I said, "Well, I'm bringing it up."
Right.
I'm bringing it up. I mean, yeah, is it going to be brought up? Yeah, because I'm going to do it. So there.
Well, actually, J.C. Treader, president of NFLPA in 2020, called for the ban of AstroTurf, and that's your president of the union calling for a ban on artificial turf. So I think I'm not going to say it's unanimous, but it's overwhelming support to move to natural grass. There are some people though who are proponents for AstroTurf, and they say because the players can play so much faster. A lot of players love playing on turf because it's faster. Is that a myth or is that true?
Mike, it's all relative. I mean, because if you're faster, then the other guy's faster. If you're a hair slower, the other guy's a hair slower. I mean, that pretty much answers that. I mean, and the game's already fast enough. Come on. So we're going to add that extra 5% or whatever it would be. I think it was 7%. The speed is sometimes 7% faster. I heard that a long time ago. I don't know if that still persists. It may. But, I mean, it's all relative. It's so, that doesn't really, that's bullshit. I'm not buying that.
So my personal opinion, Mark, I do believe that this Aaron Rodgers injury is going to be the catalyst that makes this change happen. Okay, I believe we are going to go to natural grass all over the league. We've already seen FIFA in the World Cup in the soccer world already lay down the law. No more artificial turf. And I think that's just the first domino to fall. And now Aaron Rodgers is the next domino to fall. I think we are going to see that. And even in dome stadiums, I think this is a fixable problem. We see out in Arizona, they actually retract the grass, right, for other things. So it can be done. Do you believe the cost of maintaining natural grass in a dome stadium is exorbitantly more than having the artificial turf there all the time?
Yeah, I don't say exorbitantly more. What it is in Arizona, you're asking me where I was a season ticket holder for 7 years. Yeah. What that is, Mike, in Arizona, in Glendale, that is a tray. So I'm going to explain to the folks out there who may not be aware of this, because it doesn't get a lot of publicity. The Arizona, first of all, it's an 18-inch deep dirt tray. Okay, that is what the base is. So what they're able to do is pull that tray out of that stadium so it gets the proper sun, and then they slide it just like an oven. Okay, they slide that tray back in, that 120-yard tray or 130-yard tray. They slide it back into the stadium for games. I mean, it's amazing what they did, and that's obviously, that they're a little bit ahead of the curve with Mr. Bidwell, of course, who I absolutely loved. You know how I feel about the Bidwells. At a relationship with the father, I worked in the facility. I mean, they were just ahead of the curve, and that's one of the reasons why I feel the way that I do about them. But yeah, it can be done in dome stadium. Is it exorbitant? You're asking me, Mike? I don't know. I don't know if it's exorbitantly more expensive. That's be something now. Let's talk about Ford Field, which is a great experience. I mean, I was there. I'm coming down next week for the Falcons, but again, can you do it there? The Ford Field is a wonderful experience, by the way. I want to say that just from an outsider coming in from Buffalo. I know I was on contract here as a player. I understand that, but it was one of the first times that I had really been there was in the last couple of years, and it's a great experience. Great experience. It really is. The way you sit there, the way that the seats are set up, the way that arena is made, and the way that you walk into it. Of course, it's downtown. It's wonderful. But it's on artificial turf. That's the only drawback, is me as being very positive toward that arena. The main drawback is just simply the artificial turf. We get natural grass in that place, baby. Oh, that's just keep it. It's terrific.
Right. Well, certainly a removable tray is probably not an option in Ford Field.
No, because you're going to run into a fucking building downtown.
Right. That's probably not.
You've had enough of that shit.
One thing that I thought was interesting that might relate to you, the Buffalo Bills in their brand new stadium will be playing on natural grass. And has there been any buzz from the players around there excited about that?
No, actually, there's been a little buzz from the owner himself. I put something on Facebook. Oh my gosh, I guess it was about. I'm friends with Terry Pagula. And I put something on there about 6 months ago, and I asked him about natural grass and and just to his Facebook. I'm not sure if it was him that maybe because I said an NFL player or something on there, former NFL player, that he may have said responded to me. He said yes. As a matter of fact, we are putting natural grass in there. So that came right from him. If he answers his own Facebook responses and posts, wow. Which was kind of interesting, but. Yeah, so they're going to do that, and it's a great plan for them. Mr. Pagula wants the elements as part of the game here in Buffalo, so the fans will be covered. It'll be very similar to the old Texas Stadium with the opening in the roof, because he wants the elements, he wants the weather, and he wants natural grass. There was a lot of debate here in Buffalo about putting in a dome stadium. A lot of people wanted a dome stadium. But Mr. Pagula did not. And there was a lot of other factors involved in that with the Niagara Frontier Transportation Authorities. And they own the property downtown to put a dome stadium. And it just wasn't big enough, number one. Number two, it just didn't have the support of the owner himself. So they're putting it back in Orchard Park, right next door to the old Highmark Stadium where the Bills play presently.
Right, and those Buffalo fans can continue to suffer in the elements.
That's a dig.
Maybe a little.
That's a little dig. That's a little dig.
They can continue to Well, hey, you remember the game last year where there were snowbanks in the
Oh.
aisles of the stadium?
Oh,
So you would think that they would say, maybe we don't want to do this anymore. But hey, it's all part of the experience, and that's what makes Buffalo such a great football town.
yeah.
And it's going to be. I think it's going to be great. I've seen the drawings of the new stadium. It looks incredible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it does look incredible, and it's a, it's one of those $1.2 billion deal, whatever, and that's what these things are costing now. And they have the support of the Erie County, which is the main county surrounding Buffalo, and and the people, there was a little hemming and hawing because it's going to be, some of the money does come from taxes and so forth, but. There hasn't been that much. I mean, the backing of the Buffalo Bills here is very, very strong. It's something that I have to live with. And, I just, I live and die with the Detroit Lions, and that's the way it's always going to be. But I get a chance to do some podcasts here and podcasts, of course, in Detroit. And if these two teams end up in the Super Bowl, oh man, I tell you what, I'll be one busy guy.
Right on. Well, 16 teams already play on natural grass. We saw the first artificial turf, of course, in Houston in 1966. The Oilers started playing in 68. So AstroTurf's been around for a long time, but we're seeing this gradual progression. And I know it's not something that can be done overnight, but I think we'll all be glad to see natural grass on every NFL field someday. I want to move on now and talk about your team, my team, our team, the Detroit Lions. This group that we're talking in today is an NFC North team, NFC North group, I should say. And we're Lions fans, but we have a lot of viewers out here today that are Bears fans, Vikings fans, Packers fans. Well, I don't know about Vikings fans. They're probably in witness protection this morning. But I want to hear your thoughts on how this division looks this year. It's absolutely ripe for the taking. And how do you see the Lions shaping up in that?
Well, I've always kind of, had a lot of respect for the Minnesota Vikings, and I like what they had put together. I like that coach. I like O'Connell. I think he's a good coach. I know some of the Lion fans. This is a rivalry division, but here we're talking objectively right now, and you have a lot of people who root for other teams within the division. I thought that the Vikings played a little over their head last year, Mike. And they've won a lot of games, very close games, which I give them credit for, but they were probably playing a little bit over their heads. And now they've gotten into this season. They had a tough game against Tampa Bay in the opener. Baker Mayfield, who I like him. I just do. He's got a great sense of humor. You see him do those commercials with the Heisman house and so forth. And, he's a hard worker, and they grinded one out against Minnesota there. So Minnesota's 0-2, and that doesn't really surprise me. But I don't know how far they're going to go. I love Kirk Cousins. But with the start that they have now at 0-2, they may, are they going to be a contender like Detroit may be? I don't know. But I think that they're going to be a little bit less than they were last year. That's just my opinion. Losing Adam Thielen, certainly doesn't, help a lot. Jefferson's terrific. The defense is still pretty good. There's a lot of veterans back there still. So with Phillips and, they're a good group back there defensively sometimes. I think they still have Peterson back there. So, it's they're not going to be what they were. That's to answer that question. Green Bay with Young, he played great. And, they won that game against Chicago. A little bit of a surprise. Chicago was at home. Green Bay may go somewhere, but I don't really see it that much. Chicago, I was talking to, you guys were talking about them in the beginning. Russell said, he's not really that particularly fond of Chicago, and I'm really not either. The Justin Fields situation, great athlete, good player. Sometimes doesn't make the best decisions, but he's young, he's a young guy. And, you're a little hard on him, Russ. It's okay.
I am, but that's my job, is to be hard. I understand that you got to be nice, and you're a former NFL player, and you might actually see these guys out. I don't know. Maybe Justin Fields will see me in a dark alley somewhere and beat the shit out of me because, I mean, he is an athlete like nobody could be an athlete, you know?
Yeah.
Russ, if that happens, just yell, "I'm a Buckeye fan."
Oh.
Yeah, I loved you in the horseshoe. Like,
Yeah,
no, but we
exactly.
got,
we do have a lot of Green Bay Packer fans that watch
Yeah,
this show.
yeah.
That's why you probably have a smell of cheese in the.
I did notice that smell of Limburger, guys. Yes, I did.
but we're allowed to hate those guys. And
but we respect them. We hate them, but we respect them.
yeah,
Yeah, Green Bay is kind of a odd team to try to figure out because of the quarterback situation. It's a quarterback-based league. They've lost a lot, obviously. But they did win a lot of games last year. I know it's without Rodgers and so forth, but they're hard to figure. Could they win 11 or 12 games? Yeah, possibly. Could they win 7 or 8? They're one of those really tough teams to pick as far as how they're going to do. That's just that's my opinion. So getting back to Detroit in this mix of teams, I would say that just based on what I've said, that Detroit should be in good shape to win the division. That's my culmination of it.
Right on. And then since you brought it up, let's talk about this game coming up at Ford Field on Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks, a team that made the playoffs last year and played, 48-45. They beat the Lions in Ford Field last year. They beat us the year before. This is the third year in a row we played Seattle. What do you expect to see in this game on Sunday?
Well, I expect to see the crowd really into it. Everybody knows about that. I guess they're going to have a lot of ski masks and so forth. That's a little goofy, but that's okay. That's okay. I look for Detroit to put a lot of pressure on Geno Smith. I'm surprised that Seattle, and I think the rest of the league is, that they did not beat the Rams in the opener at home. And they didn't. So now they're coming in here. You don't want to go 0-2 in this league. You don't want to go 0-2. I've been through some of that. That's a no-no. So they got to come in here and they got to really fight. Pete Carroll, he's going to have his guys ready. But they're going into a crazy environment, a tough environment. But what you tell your players, and I've been in this situation before. What Pete Carroll's going to tell his players is that it's crazy environment. It's going to be loud. Those fans are not on the field, gentlemen. That's what they tell you. They're not on the field. They have nothing to do with the outcome of the game. All right. The fans are going to be loud. That's what they do. That you should embrace that. You want to play in an environment like that where people are involved. You want to play in that, but the fans are not on the field, guys, and they ingrain that in your head. The coaches do.
The Lions are a 5.5-point favorite. Do you expect the Lions to cover that spread, Mark?
I do. Okay. Yeah, I really do. I've been pretty right on it. The other night, I was at an NFL PA. We had a meeting also with for the 9/11 situation, and I predicted the Jets to win by 6. So I'm usually pretty good on that stuff. I'm not a bettor myself, but I know a lot of the fans out there get involved with that, and that's fine as long as you keep it in perspective. But I like them to cover this 5.5 this week. I really do. But every time you kind of sometimes say something like that and you really feel good about it, it ends up being a real neck and neck game. And all right, let me say this. Nobody would be surprised if Detroit won 31-10 on Sunday. Okay. They really wouldn't. So you gotta beware of that, because when you say that, then shit, it ends up being, 31-29 with a minute 6 to go, and Seattle's got the ball.
I like 31-10 better.
Yeah.
Last question from me there, Mark. I know it's only been one game, and it was the Super Bowl champions on the road in Arrowhead, a very tough place to play. What have you seen as far as a difference in this defense? Obviously, the weak spot for the Lions last year was the defense, and they came out strong in the first game. Comment on what you've seen as a turnaround in this defense and how that's going to translate to Seattle game.
I think that the linebackers are real solid. The pass rush is terrific. it's not so much the sacks that Aiden Hutchinson gets. I'm from a player's standpoint. It's the hurries. I think everybody will agree with me on that. I mean, the hurries. He produces such a strong rush on the outside that he put Mahomes in difficult positions over and over and over again. That was terrific. Kaminsky played well. Houston, those guys, the pressure on the quarterback, putting them in odd situations. I'm not going to say too much on the back end because I think a lot of the credit and Branch is a good player, and no question, but the drops hurt Kansas City desperately. The linebacking core is better. Campbell's he's this Chris Spielman with more speed and a little more height. He just is. I mean, Anzalone's they're good. They're good. They're much better. I said they're gonna. What I said in the first show with you guys before we did Kansas City's game is, they're gonna stop some people. They really are. How much better are they than last year in that first game? Probably 20% better. I wouldn't say they're more than that because the drops really contributed to the Lions' victory. But all in all, they put the quarterback in uncomfortable positions. And as a D lineman, what you want to do is cause chaos back there. You're not maybe going to get the sack, but you want to cause chaos. You want to get your arms up. You want to be – some of these guys scream a lot when they're coming in, believe it or not. That give you a little tidbit of what it's like out there. Sometimes some guys keep their mouth shut, but some guys, when they're running in like that, they're trying to just disrupt is the word. And they've been able to do that.
I'm a quarterback, and you've got a 6'8" monster like Aiden Hutchinson coming full blast on every single play. I mean, that's got to get into your psyche a little bit and say, man, I don't want that guy falling on me. So
no, you don't. And did you see what the NFL is doing, Mike, on number 74, who is back up? His name eludes me right now. The offensive tackle.
Taylor, so glad you brought it up.
Yeah, he's doing is he's positioning himself off the line of scrimmage. He's the right tackle, and he's taking his right leg and he's sliding it back into a position where he is off the line, giving him an advantage to get to the outside to block an Aiden Hutchinson. And the NFL is cracking down on that. The officials met this week regarding that and regarding that player from the Chiefs, and they're going to call that. And they're going to call that as what I would call illegal procedure. They call it illegal formation. So that's something interesting that came out of that Lions-Chiefs game. Is it an unfair advantage for the Chief offensive tackle in that situation? Yes. It is. He needs to be on the line of scrimmage. He needs to be to the waistline. Listen to me. To the waistline of the center. Okay, that's where he needs to be. He can't be further. He can't be at the ass line. Okay, that kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was egregious. It was so bad.
Did you think so?
Called him a slot receiver. I mean, that's how bad.
That's great. Oh, I love it. I love that.
And I love to see that the NFL taking action against it. I just wish they would have called it at least one time. Do you think that there was any validity to what people are saying, that the Lions didn't push back on it because it was tipping the hand of the offense that they were in a pass play?
Yeah. Good point, Mike. That really is. And, sometimes when things come up during a game, I've been in these situations before. Not so much in the pros in college, let's just keep our mouth shut on that. No, let's just keep our mouth, right. Let that just be, and it's a unified effort. We know it. We all noticed something. They all noticed it. Okay. On Thursday night. But, let's just keep our mouth shut. So, yeah, let's just keep our mouth shut because, it's telling us that they're throwing the football. Boom. That's the conversation that goes on. It's that fast on the sideline. Right. It's that fast. Fuck it. That's what they're doing. They're throwing the ball. Okay, leave it alone. I know this is my third last question. Third last. I love you guys.
My last question. So Russell and I and a lot of other Lions fans feel something different this year. It's special. There's something in the air. Do you feel that? And outside of Michigan, is the rest of the Lions fans around the country, do you think they're feeling that too?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I said on my Facebook page, I said, one of the politicians in the Michigan area said, The
We're gonna
Detroit
bite a
Lions
kneecap off?
are going to be the darlings of the league. And I said in response, I said they already are. Outside of Michigan, if you don't like hard work, if you don't like perseverance, if you don't respect this gritty group who is not the most talented football team in the NFL by any means, well, then you don't like the Detroit Lions. There's something wrong. You don't like hard work. Well, there's something wrong with you. You don't like perseverance. What the hell's wrong with you? I mean, that's what this team spells out. So it's that's what they signify. And if you don't like that, then maybe you're a little messed up. So
right on. So I'm going to take that as a yes. You do feel like it's special.
Yeah, they're special.
There. Okay, I love it. Mark
I'm
Schmidt,
so proud right now.
Being on our show.
Yeah,
we appreciate you so much. Mark Schmidt, former NFL wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. We're so blessed to have him on the show. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Russ. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Yes. That's a former NFL wide receiver right there from the Detroit Lions in the 80s. He actually got to be on the field with Barry Sanders. How cool is that?
And Lomas Brown.
And Lomas.
I'm starting a petition. This is honest truth. I am starting a petition for Lomas Brown to be in the Hall of Fame. He's been snubbed long enough. I've been meaning to tell you that a couple days ago, that the main event, we should start a petition. 18 seasons, 7 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pro seasons, a Super Bowl champion with the Buccaneers. He's got the resume.
Acknowledge me.
That's
he was
right.
Tackle for a team that had a 2,000-yard rusher. He absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's been snubbed long enough.
And you know what? I love listening to him break down offensive line play. He kind of reminds me of like the football version of like Charles Barkley. Be like, look here, like he had to go around the outside and he wanted to use the pad length, and he was going to try to push him out of the way so the running back could come through, sliding through the hole, and then he could score a touchdown with his his athletic ability.
Lomas Brown, impressive, brother. That's a big ass.
Got to put the ass in the way. You see, that's the idea. Is like you want to make sure Jared Goff is clean, and that your ass is in the way. We got to put the bat.
Wasn't that great having Mark Schmidt on the show and having him break that stuff down? And the most salient thing that he said that it really hit me was all these people that push back and say, "Oh, but playing on turf is so much faster." Mark made a great point. Yeah, if you're faster, guess what? So's the other guy. He's faster too.
Right.
So so stop it. Let's go all convert to natural grass. I don't know how they're going to pull it off on some indoor stadiums like Ford Field. Very interesting to know that Arizona has a giant tray that's 18 inches deep. That's a big oven tray that they just pull right out of the stadium. That's crazy to me.
There's some landscaping, professional out there like Sam Gamble that's out there going, "Oh, you don't know how to make natural grass? Let me show you how to do this." And they're in their little, in their little office right there, and they're constructing it up. And you know what? Sheila Hamp has enough money to pull it off too. So I have no worries that they'd be able to convert that to natural grass quick.
It's sad that all of these other injuries happen. For God's sake, OBJ had 2 ACLs, right, in 2 years.
Right.
But it took an injury to Aaron Rodgers for it to really come up to the surface and become a relevant topic again. Aaron Rodgers' career with the Jets so far, he only survived 3 plays, which is 2 more than Abraham Lincoln.
And here we go. Like, I get this. Like, this is actually the sad part right here. Is like, I like Sarah. Sarah, like, stuck through all of the beatings that we had all during the summertime. We just kept on giving it and then shoveling it onto the Vikings. And it's like, I'm not happy that she's gone. I mean, I would love to see her pop on here, and she doesn't have to like talk smack or anything. I think that I'm realistically hard on them now. I'm not going to just shovel it on and make fun of the fan base or anything like that. It's just, they're having a bad run at it. It's
Right.
it's those are two bad losses. I don't think that they were really ever close in that Philadelphia game. I mean, they may have threw up some, garbage time points and they got it to within 6. But what happened when they got it to 6? That offensive line went out there and just went 8 yards a carry, closed the game out. Like they had no chance. They have no chance because
Philadelphia did seem like they were in control. They were on cruise control for the whole game. It did seem that way.
And when they got it to within 6, that's what happened. I think they ran the ball like 10 straight times or something like that with Swift. It's like run,
Yeah.
run. And it was just kind of like, that had to be, how defeating is that as a defense? Just to be like, they're calling like, off right guard here, off right guard here. And just getting blown off the line of scrimmage, play after play, and they just probably wanted to get out of there by the end of the game. It's like, I don't even want to stand in front of these guys anymore. So that's what happens when you have no pass rush and you have no defenders on your interior that can get a pass rush.
They were getting manhandled on the offensive line too, and which brings us to our SKOL acronym of the day.
Here it comes.
Sorry, Kirk, your offensive line is shit. That's our SKOL acronym of the day.
And I like how you added the S in there. Skulls. That's like almost like it was like multiple skulls right there. But so we did talk about we talked about Seattle, and I mean, really, we didn't get into that in detail. Seattle's on the tracks and the train's coming through. That's the way that I'm looking at this. And if they were fully healthy, I think that we would beat their ass. But it looks like they're going to be without their starting right tackle and their starting left tackle. I don't know. We're loaded on defensive line, man. That's just not a good. Those are just two guys you can't afford to not have in there.
Mark, you kept putting up the comments, and they were making me smile. One of the comments was from Calvin, who said, "Invite Mark onto the Monday night show."
Yeah,
that's the worst idea in the history of ideas, Calvin.
Yeah, I mean, that's Mark. I love Mark to death, and that's just like, I wouldn't see the trash talking as part of his MO. That's not really in his thing. He's just a really.
Some of these people that we have on the Monday show would rip Mark a new one, and they wouldn't even care that he's an ex-NFL player.
I wouldn't subject Mark to the low lifes that come in and watch our Monday show. And that includes us. We don't know anything about football. So every once in a while we get a smart guy like Mark, who's actually been, that knows real football stuff. We just watch it and we like it, so, but it was a lot of fun today having him on here. And I am looking forward to having him on here more, actually giving us like real football knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
What do we got in the comments today?
I mean, I hit them all up pretty good. I might or maybe not. Russell, where did you go? More dad duty, no more picture of you. No, I was just trying to be a fly on the wall. Look at some different ways to have Mike. Mike's my interviewer. He's such a well-spoken man. He goes out, he asks the questions in the right way. I'm kind of a.
Well, I didn't get that Emmy nomination because of my good looks.
No. But they missed it when the backup tackle came in for the Vikings and he had a third down where he lined up just like Taylor did in KC.
I didn't
call him out. Calling him out, man. Call him out. I mean, they cheated the whole game and, we let them get away with it. Like I said, I mean, you're going to tip off that you're going to be throwing the ball. We'll take that. I won't say nothing, but wish the coach would address this. At least we could know, or at least we would know.
Coach would address what?
I mean that's why I hate going into the comments at the end here. Let me see if I start anything good. Streaming the games. Yeah, we may actually start streaming the games. We're actually looking into that because I know it's a mess out there. We want to figure out the legal way to do this so we don't get in any type of trouble. But if there is a way that we'll be able to do it, Mike and I might even broadcast the shows and we might even commentate it ourselves. And that would be a lot of fun.
Would you pay $4.99? Because that seems to be the way, right? Is they do a subscription to stream the game. So Louise, that's a question for you. Would you pay $4.99 if we did stream the games?
Yeah, I'm sure that they would. And at first we may even stream a half of the game for nothing. Well, we got to figure out how to do it first. And you may actually benefit from that because we may not charge anything for it while we're trying to figure out how to do it. Viking fans are not in witness protection. They are now holing up in bunkers.
You like that?
Calvin, I love it. We got to get that smack
talk.
Sorry,
Calvin. That's the land of 10,000 lakes. The water table's too high for a bunker.
Those guys, I'm sorry, Viking fans. I mean, this is cap hell. Like this isn't something that we just say and we make fun of you at the beginning of the off season, and then you actually go through the off season. Now you have to go through the season without those guys, and you're just gonna find out. I mean,
I want to give a shout out to all the Viking fans that said we're not going to miss Dalvin Cook.
Good morning, bitches. FYT, go pack, go. 13 days until we smack them Lions. You know what I love about this comment and what reason I highlighted it, Mike, was because I hope that LaFleur is this dumb to overlook the Atlanta Falcons and they get their asses truck stick because he's thinking about us Lions and getting revenge on us. So I'm glad you're thinking about us and not your opponent.
Well, I'm not going to argue with Robert's math ever again.
Yeah, but I can because I didn't do that. So Bear Down Mike says Justin isn't the guy. I don't trust this coaching staff to develop a quarterback. We know that the Bears can't develop a quarterback. I'd rather trade for an established starting quarterback with the first pick going to O-line and wide receiver.
And of course, Bear Down Mike, we love you, man. Thanks for the comment. We know that the Bears have 2 first-round picks. He's saying trade one of those first-round picks for a starting quarterback. Kirk Cousins in Chicago would be better than Justin Fields, no doubt. And then you get another wide receiver or an offensive lineman with that other first pick. I love that call, Mike. And Bear Down Mike has been Justin Fields' biggest proponent for 2 years now. And he's finally starting to see the light that maybe this isn't the guy. It does sound like he's putting it on the coaching staff. And the way the question reads is, if Justin isn't the guy. Well, what do you mean if he isn't the guy? It's obvious he's not the guy. I mean, I know we're only 1 game in, but this is his 3rd year, and he can't seem to pull it together.
Oh, says y'all can't stick around. I can't stick around today either. Actually, I have I'm up against it right now, Mike. And I'm sorry that I haven't been able to do the live. Sometimes the family duties call in and yeah, if you don't want that, then find me a big corporate sponsor that will pay me the big bucks to do this. And I would love to pay a babysitter and all that stuff. But you know what would help though, Russ, if they would go and subscribe to our YouTube and follow our page. Tell them how to do that. Yeah, actually, I'm going to call this out right now. This is cool because sometimes you don't even think about it. But all the people that are watching on YouTube right now, there's 17 of you. There's only 5 likes on that video. So if you could take the time right now to like the video that you're watching right there on YouTube, that would be awesome. That helps out so much. And then like we're broadcasting live right now into the Villain Squad. I mean, really, that would be really awesome if you could go and like follow this page right here, because this is the juice right here. All you got to do is click that follow button and it helps us out. And we're just trying to reach more Lions fans. We're trying to reach more Bear fans. If you're into the Bears, our resident Bear fan is Mike the Bear Fan. You can go follow Mike the Bear Fan. If there's any of those guys out there like Bear Down Mike that are still in existence and you're into football conversation, go follow Bear Down Mike because 365 days a year, he's got Bear content. Bill the Packer fan. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was saying Mike the Bear fan, not Bear Down Mike, has that page.
Right. So, Bill the Packer fan, this is our Packer news guy. This is our resident Packer fan right here. If you like the Packer, you're a Packer head and you want your Packer news, you want, Packer injury reports, and they do a live broadcast every single week. We do not have a representative yet for the Minnesota Vikings. And we might not get one this year, but if we do, we're definitely looking to have all four of them in the NFC North. And please go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Thank you. Wow, we got 13, 14. Now we have 15. Yeah, now all the people liked it. Thank you for liking that and subscribing to the YouTube channel right here. And we do this every morning. So, Mike, go ahead and plug this show because I've been talking too much.
Yeah, every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we do the NFC North Open Mic. It is a trash talk event. I host the show. Russ produces the show. We bring in all four fan bases and talk smack to each other. And this season's going to be a circus on Monday nights. Be sure to check it out. NFC North Open Mic, Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
And this is NFC North The Huddle. This is where we get our roasts posts from. So we have a segment on that show, the NFC North Open Mic, called The Roast Post. We open up the shows, and in this NFC North The Huddle, this is a private group right here that you can join, and it's just trash talking posts, and we pick some of the best posts, and then we feature them on Monday night. If you want your post to be featured on Monday night, go in there, join this group, and post away, and your post might get picked for that. And this, what you are watching right now, this is NFC North Talk with Russell Wayne. I'm your host of this every single weekday morning, sometimes even on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's when you can watch me. Thank you, everybody who is watching right now and subscribing and following our content. God bless each and every one of you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord bless you. May he shine his face upon you. Have a blessed day and one pride. We'll see you tomorrow.
One pride.
Thank you so much for watching the broadcast today. If you're not watching on YouTube, I just threw a link for the YouTube into the comments. Please hop over, subscribe to that. We appreciate your support. NFC North. NFC North Open Mic. You are watching NFC North Talk with Russell Wayne. Weekday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern. Green Bay Packers versus the Falcons. Who do you got? Throw it in the comments.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. You have a great day.